our show, Cuzzo Convo. We're your hosts, Renaissance Ronnie
and Mo Lovely. We're here to have an open dialogue about all things Black reality TV, highlighting positivity and giving out real life accountability checks.
So grab your seat and whatever you need, because we're about to dig in.
What's going on, Cuzzos? It is Mo Lovely and
Renaissance Ronnie.
Y'all have no idea what we just did. We started to film and was not recording, so we are starting over again. But gratefully, I caught it like maybe
it wasn't too far in there.
Yes, 6 or 7 minutes. But we're going to jump in quickly. So sorry if this feels rushed, but welcome back to our Cuzzos. And then for those other distant Cuzzos that are brand new, we welcome you to our channel. Thank you for joining us. So we're going to jump into Love and Marriage DC recap show, episode 1. So starting off with some of the positives,
right.
I would have to say that it was really great seeing Jace being celebrated with his going away party for him officially entering into the program doors. And so it was just good to see, like, you know, even just all of the cast show up for him and you know, just
except Monique and Chris.
Yes, except Monique and Chris, and we're about to get to that. And Arena definitely expressed her disappointment in that. And I'm pretty sure I know why. Because from my understanding, Jace was coming over to Monique and Chris's house frequently to do I guess therapy, like not pool.
Yes.
Therapy, but yeah, he was doing a form of, I guess, his physical therapy, and they were using their pool. So, with that being said, obviously there was some camaraderie and togetherness that they have really started to develop. So I guess she probably was like, can we put this aside? You know, contractually, can you just show up? Not contractually, but like you don't have to be
film. Yeah,
all those people that were there were like not necessarily on any contract. But then again, I don't know how Carlos works. So even though they might have been disappointed, Carlos probably was like, "Oh no, she said contracts." So nope, we don't need her. Sorry, she won't be there. But anyway. I digress. So that was a really good positive to see them celebrate him. And I know that you mentioned while we thought we were recording, you had mentioned the artwork.
The artwork that was created while they were at the party, and it included texture, so Jason could feel the artwork, and I thought that was really special.
Yeah,
and touching.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I don't think the one thing that I would have to honestly say, and it seems like, and I hope that they do open it up a little bit more, because again, I have taught special needs children, and so they just have a special place in my heart, because first of all, let me tell you something about special needs kids. They don't have a filter, okay? They just don't.
That's true.
Now, they'll tell you, they'll be like, you know, you getting a little big, you okay? like they'll tell you, they'll ask you, like, you know, something ain't right. They'll tell you if you smell. They don't have a filter, and I guess I'm like, I like that just because, like, I mean, I would have to say I have like a filter, but then like I don't. So it's kind of like those my people. Like we can have like a conversation without like filters or whatever. But then I'd be like, all right, that's enough. So yes. So anyway, so I really do. I love Jason, and we know that he definitely was ready to move out, as he expressed several times. He was like, I'm ready to roll and bounce. So I'm pretty sure he is doing very well and successful. And I know that Arena did say it's a 9-month program, so he is probably at this point more than halfway at the halfway point. So Jace, we wish you well, and hopefully that this also opens up whatever doors that you want to get into when it comes to. I know you wanted to work for Apple, so I just hope that just
I'm
much
serious
success
about
just
that.
really, yeah, comes to him, since he is really just really dedicated to what he wants to do and his independency. So he's got it. So, but yes. All right. So jumping into the very first thing, the departure of Monique and Chris. So, what are your thoughts on their whole of the cast, pretty much giving Monique and Chris a departure? My 2 quick cents is I thought it was too long, a waste of show, but I know that you think otherwise. So go ahead.
No, I didn't actually. I thought it was too long too, but I felt like it was done partially because, like I was saying when I thought we were recording, is that it's kind of like they were the center of the show. They introduced everybody on the show was a friend of theirs, so they were the
Mm,
like the stars, and then everybody else was kind of like the co-stars. And so I was saying it's kind of like if Martell and Mel left Love and Marriage Huntsville, we would
mm-hmm,
kind of want to do like a recap or of why they left type of thing. But I think the other part of another part of the reason why they did such a long they talked about them so much on the show is because of the whole messiness and kind of like drama surrounding them leaving the show. And that's the whole thing with them supposedly separating and living in
mm-hmm,
separate houses. So Carlos probably wanted to get the gossip from the other cast members of what they knew or what they thought was happening or whatever. And then, there's of course there's some rumblings about them trying to leverage the separation in the contract, basically saying like um, they wanted more money. And I
mm-hmm.
guess um, Carlos or the powers to be weren't budging, and so they decided to walk. So I mean, uh, the whole cast, well, not the whole cast, but I guess the Silvas and the Tylers seemed to know that they were living in separate homes. And
Mm-hmm.
that was also what Ashley Darby from Housewives of Potomac, because she was the one who kind of spilled the beans in the first place.
Right.
That's what she was saying too. And according to Ashley, their Potomac home is big enough that one person can be in one wing and one person can be in the other wing, and they don't have to see each other. So for them to be in separate homes, it must be serious. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, what do
Moving
you
on.
think? Do you think they're separating?
I could really care less, and I do know that people. No, I'm really, uh, and I think I said this when I thought we were recording before. Um, I have a soft spot for Chris. I think
Mm-hmm.
that for me personally, I think that he was very so much so was humiliated last season. Um, so I'm I'm grateful that they're saying, hey, we're separating, we're trying to work on whatever we're working on. And, honestly, no amount of money to me, if you truly want to keep your marriage, no amount of money should even be on, like, they should have left anyway, because it just did not seem right for them to be
Mm-hmm.
on the show. It just seemed like they came with so much animosity, unforgiveness. It was too much. And I'm just like, yeah, no, this is not what y'all want. Y'all don't want this right now. Y'all need to really deal with whatever these underlining issues are, etc. So I am happy about their departure. Um and do I believe if you have 3 people that you all were building, and again, I would say probably before Ashley, Arena definitely would know, because again, like we just said, she
She
was
spent a
at
lot of
the
time.
house to get exactly. So, with that being said, I mean, I don't feel like there's a reason for her to lie about something like that. So yeah. So I'm grateful for their departure. It's more about I hope that um, Chris realizes if she wants to be released, that he just needs to release her. I'm not a person that's for divorce, but I'm also a person that is very, when it comes to logic of, if someone just feels like they're forcing themselves to stay in this position because for the kids, for TV, for whatever it is, it's like, no, that's not big enough. And if you guys can't find your foundation to why you guys are together, whatever it's for, whether it's legacy, that whatever, then it's just like, just let it go. Like,
I personally believe that Chris is the one who didn't want to do it again. I
mm,
think he probably was like, I'm not getting back on the show for you to embarrass me again.
mm. And good
So
for him. Because it was embarrassing. I was just like, I just kept on going, girl, what's
yeah, and
going
it
on
was
here?
like, if we're gonna work out our issues, let's just do it in private. So
Yeah,
I think Chris probably was the one who was like,
yeah,
I'm not
very
doing that again.
right. Yeah. And so, like I said, good for him. And I just hope that in her reflection as they are living in separate homes or whatever they're doing, I just hope that they're coming both to a reality of, yeah, whatever. Because I had even looked at the one of the clip. I didn't even realize this. I guess I don't know if it was people, whoever they did an interview with. She was like reading from a paper. She was like, and so we are not divorcing, da 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 da, and
Yeah.
then we are. I said, wait a minute.
hmm
I was
I
like,
think they
damn.
were they on the live or were they? But yeah, she was definitely reading.
I was like,
I noticed that too.
this doesn't look good.
Yeah.
I'm like, you should be able to run down the list like of this like there's no way like yeah. I'm like, you're looking real shady here.
It was
Like it's
definitely a statement she was giving instead of just speaking. I mean, if it's the truth that y'all not separating and y'all working on yourselves, you should be able to just say that.
exactly. Yeah, I don't know. So yeah.
It was
So
like, let me write this down and stick to the script so I won't say nothing off so those people won't get no other ideas and know what's really going on.
right. And my thing
So,
is that if you are, I'm not necessarily even against a script, but if you are going to use one, I think just to have a prerequisite of, hey, listen, I had to get my thoughts together because to be honest with you guys, like there's so much that I can't say, but I want to make sure that I'm saying the right things. So I have notes. Like, even if you would have did that, that's much respected. And again, I didn't look at the live. She might have, but it didn't look like, because the way she was kept dipping down and looking like this. I was like, boo, you needed a teleprompter so you could just
read straight ahead instead of having to say
yes.
that.
So anyway, moving on.
Yes.
So
Now we're spending too much time on
that's right.
them.
So we've got Clifton and Joy who have replaced Monique and Chris. So these two, for those of you that are like, yeah, who is this couple?
Yeah,
So
because
they
I don't know.
obviously, yeah, so they obviously introduced themselves. They were on Ready to Love, DC actually. It might have been Potomac, but it was DC. You know, they had the DC, and then the next season was Potomac, but it was all DC because that's where they were all hanging out at. That's where they all still hang out. Is all DC, not Potomac. Anyway, so these two met, and from the first season, from the first episode of Ready to Love until the last episode, these two were pretty much like peas and rice. Uh, and so everybody just knew, like, okay, Joy and Clifton, Joy and Clifton. So I am very excited. I do like these two, and I like them together. I like them together on Ready to Love. So and I was rooting for them. So I am still rooting for them. They are obviously not married. They're engaged, and they are getting ready to do so. And so we opened up with their scene, or their first scene together, talking about first of all, Clifton, you said you sell beard oil. What other entrepreneurs, child? You that house
I
ain't
was
what.
gonna say, what do they do for a living? Like, how they? First of all, the
So
house he lives in and the house they're about to purchase. I was like, so where they getting their money from?
right. So I'm assuming he's a serial entrepreneur because I don't, because he's saying that he's just coming out with the beard oil. So I do remember like trying to think of like the careers. I felt like he was something like some sort of consultation type of thing. I don't know. And then an entrepreneur. But we do know that Joy is a singer. She
Singer.
is a performer. And so I know that she has traveled all over, and she did live in Mexico, I think 6 months out of the year doing her whole singing thing or whatever. So she's obviously getting paid some nice money too. But yes, when I saw that house, I said, okay, Clifton.
It's like they moving by the water. What?
So yeah, so I do think that they are. I would say I think that they are a good replacement, because you see a couple. I think they've been together for about 2.5 years now, so you get to see a couple that is fresh. They're probably still in we definitely in their honeymoon stage, and so yes, though they're not married, and then they're making their way to marriage. I mean, they practically are, with like living together and doing all that stuff, the stuff that married folks do. And so we're talking about their lives finally coming together, where they're getting a home, and then him talking about his sons and how she feels about that, whatnot. So yeah, so I think they're good replacements. I don't really have like anything to say. I'm excited for their journey and to see. I love I love Joy. I will have to say though I was rooting for them already to love their sexual chemistry and energy. I was afraid. I was afraid for Joy, because I was just like, do y'all just want to have sex? Because
They see. I don't know them from Ready to Love, but as my introduction to them on This Love and Marriage DC, they definitely still have sexual chemistry.
yes, child.
They
It
was
was like
showing the positions and
the
all that.
bed. Yes, he was like, and this is why this bed got, because you had did this, and she said, and then I turned around and I did this. I said, oh Jesus, okay. So anyway, so yes, so I will have to admit that I was just like, I don't know, like, is this just a good sexual like chemistry energy, and they're just like, they're gonna do it, and then once they do it, they be like, oh no, if I really like you, but no, like they obviously have stuck around, and they are blossoming as a couple. So we will see how they continue to grow on the show. So yeah.
I'm excited to learn more about them.
Yeah. So moving on, we have the Tylers and the Silvers on Raising Sons. So there's obviously a couple of parts here. So we have we've got we had a scene where you had Quick and Ashley that was talking about what I do. Do they released their kids' names? I don't remember.
I think it's Ashton and Ava.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Okay.
No,
I
it's
remember Ashton, but I don't.
no, maybe
I think Ashton's the girl.
Ashton, the girl. Okay, so the son is what's Quick's real name? The son is whatever Quick's real name is, I believe.
Okay, well, we just gonna say Junior. So, obviously, Quick. We see him have this conversation with Ashley about, I guess, their son, who is 14, 15 years of age, and is not getting himself up, or not. He's not being given, I should say, responsibilities, and one of that responsibilities is getting up in time to make it to school in time. And so Ashley's like, and he's like, oh, you're just doing everything for him. And so you don't understand what type of boy you're going to be raising. That's going to be one day, sometime, that's going to be a man. And then once he gets out there, this person or whomever he's going to be with is going to have to deal with this. It's going to be the repercussions of you doing everything for him. So there's a balance to this. So first I had to think back at my childhood about getting up. So 14, 15 is obviously high school age. I'm trying to think here. Was I getting myself up? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Were you getting yourself up?
So we're talking what, ninth grade?
Yeah, between ninth and 10th grade. I'm trying to. And the only reason why I'm thinking like I might not have been getting myself up is because remember, like, because we went to a performing arts high school, like I was in rehearsals. I didn't get home till like 11:30 at night. Then I had to stay up to do homework.
Mhm.
So like, and then I had to wake up at like 5:30. So
I can't remember if somebody was waking me up or not. I feel
so
like
I
nobody wasn't, but I don't remember.
yeah, so I
But
feel like
then again,
that
I
I was
do
probably
know that I believe I used to get dropped off at your house and then we would ride
yes.
to school. So
Ooh,
somebody was up too to take me at least to your house. So I would think they probably woke me up too.
yeah. So yeah, so I don't know. So, you know, so with that being said, I
I don't
think
know.
and I do understand that it's a little bit different. I know that men and even mothers view how they're raising their sons very differently than than girls for sure. And so I
Mhm.
think that one of the questions that I would have loved for Ashley to have actually asked quick is, do you feel the same way about Ashton? Like, if Ashton is 14, 15 years old, are we looking at this across the board? Because I think that you hear a lot of times that mothers and sons, they have this relationship that mothers and daughters don't have. And so a lot of daughters end up growing up kind of having a very just a rough relationship because well you did this for my brother but you didn't the your standards changed totally when it came to me.
Right.
um and so I think that the question should Ashley should have asked quick was, well, do you feel the exact same way? If we're going to agree to do this, or if this is something that you want to implement into his life, his sister is not that far off in age. Should we just start implementing it and saying, hey, you guys, this is what we're going to do? Now, obviously, when we were in school, we didn't have like devices like that. Like we were just like coming out of like the beeper pager, and then we like had like Nokia phones and stuff like that. So like
Right.
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure like there was probably an alarm on there, but I understand that where Quick is coming in with you, if they probably have their own devices, even their daughter. So I
Mm.
mean, you just said that's how I wake up and just set it on your phone and you just wake up. So I think that it's not, I don't think it's a big deal. I think that Ashley could have just said, you know, I don't think that I'm babying him or whatever, but let's talk about some ways that we can give him responsibility and how we'll do that and how we implement those things.
I can speak from, like I said, I can't remember what I did at that age, but I can speak at least as a parent because
Mm-hmm.
my son is well, he's 15, but he's still in the
Mm-hmm.
same age group. And he actually has to be at his bus stop really early. But he wakes himself up and he gets himself dressed and he gets out of here like uh, I will say 95% of the time I'm asleep still and he's he's up
Up
and
and
out
out.
and gone. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where sometimes I'm like checking my camera, like, did he get up? Did he leave? Did he walk? So
Yeah.
he does it independently. Um, but what was the point I was gonna make? But I think I don't even think it's teaching of the responsibility thing. I think it's a each child is different thing
Mm-hmm.
because my son was just always kind of an early riser and pretty independent.
Mm.
Um, my Jordan, on the other hand, although she's 10, she I feel like, at least at this point, maybe she'll change in the next 3 to 4 years, but I feel like I'll still be waking her up and saying, "Get it get it together, sis." get up. And maybe, like I said, maybe it's, I don't know, is it a male female thing? I don't know, but it's, for me, it's a child thing. Like, your child, your child.
Yeah.
Would I be pressing the issue of, okay, you are 14, 13, 14, 15, and you need to be waking yourself up? Um, uh, I don't know. I don't know if it would be a big deal to me. I'm not sure.
Do you think that if they had, like, if there was like jobs or like something where they where again where there was, or even just like, some sports band whatever, or job, like, do you feel like you would probably implement, like, hey, you need to, you know like, you need to create a schedule for yourself, you need to be able to get yourself up, ready, whatever, prepare, if you're going to prepare your lunch the day before, whatever it is, like some form of
Structure,
responsibility.
yeah. I think
Yeah.
I think a lot of that comes into play when, for instance, you're a parent who has to be to work at a certain time. So maybe you're not necessarily home when your child leaves out for the day, or your child needs to leave out when you leave out. So we need to do things the night before to
Mm-hmm.
prepare. But in this day and time where um parents are home a lot, and working from home and all that, it's like that's maybe why I'm not seeing it as a big deal. But I think that um there was a time when I would be going to work every day and I would have to leave out before um my child got on the bus or whatever. I probably would be like pressing it into them, like, you got to be more independent, you got to be able to wake, I'm not going to be able to wake you up, I'm not going to be here in the morning to get you up and make sure.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
But I don't know. I just don't know, because even when I'm not here in the mornings and Jordan has to get herself up, I still call her on the phone
Mm-hmm.
and say, get up, get yourself together, and then call her and say, okay, are you up? Okay, are you at the bus? Okay, are you on the bus? Type of thing. So,
Yeah.
uh, I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot there.
But
Think.
I think Ashley personally, not to cut you off, I think she
Mm-hmm.
personally has some things she may need to work through, like with a therapist,
Mm-hmm.
some her childhood trauma.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that's what's driving her.
Mm. And that's interesting because she said to him, "You have to remember that you lost your mother at 10, so you didn't have, what they have or whatnot." Like I said, I do understand Quick's concern because, you do have a lot of, uh, you do have, unfortunately, you got just a lot of these men today that are just, they're coming from backgrounds and homes that, again, it's specifically the whole mother son relationship
Yeah.
where they're just like, oh son, I'll do everything for you, I'll cook, I'll clean, I'll this, whatever. And so what happens is that these men transition into the real world, and then they're looking for mama and they're dating, scene. They're like, so what do you do? And then you like, oh yeah, and I'm this and I'm whatever. And they're like, oh, that's great that you're independent. That's great that you're a six-figure earner. Those are all great. And so how do you take care of your man? And like, oh yeah,
So
I do
she's
this, I
creating a
do
Marcel.
this. Yeah.
This is
Pretty much.
this is an early Marcel.
Yeah. So whereas I think Quick is just like, just let it be balanced. And that's why I said too, though, if it's going to be balanced, it needs the sister needs to also like do it as a family, like let it be
Mhm.
across, like just don't just pinpoint, because I get you, I understand you, and I understand your concern is very valid, but I just feel like it, just do it across the whole household so that your daughter also sees, like, again,
This is coming for you as well.
yes, like, okay, I see my dad do it, but I also see my brother do it. So when I go out into the dating world, I'm not gonna be sitting here like, yeah. So yeah, so that's that.
Yeah, let's move into the Tylers and their situation with their son
Yes.
because it's a little more complex than
Yeah.
so
So
uh
we're at Jason's party. We obviously
mhm,
have the background of
mhm,
what little Jamie and Jamie Senior's relationship
mhm,
has been. It's obviously been rocky for a long time, off and on, and we see this explosion in a sense happen. And I have several thoughts. I think the first thing that I want to just say, and then I'm going to let you take this. But the first thing that I want to say is, that conversation, it just should not have happened at Jason's party. Like
at all.
I get it.
I felt the
Yeah,
same way. I was like, this is not the time or the place.
yeah. I was like, I get it that y'all went on to the balcony, but I just was just like, let this be a celebration. That's it. Like, you
Mhm.
can talk to your son um at another time. Like, I just thought it was very inappropriate, and
It was.
it was just not. I didn't like it. I was like, oh my god, why are we having this conversation here? Um, and I think, and then I'll say this, and then I'll let you speak. This is the one thing that I will say too. I think that we have to be okay sometimes with uh respectfully challenging our parents and saying like, hey, listen, and I get it, it's a reality TV show, so probably contractually they were like, you need to talk to your dad, because we saw towards the end they was like, you need to talk to your dad. So contractually I would say that he was obligated, but in real life, outside of these cameras, like, it would have been, oh, you want to talk to me? All right, so let's make an appointment, let's whatever, and then be like, no, I want to talk right now. Okay, depending on what you have to say, it all depends. This is going to be a real short whatever, because I won't have to probably had to walk away. And I think that we have to understand that, like, you know parents are human beings, period. um Many of us are, obviously, we have some brokenness that is in us and within us,
Mhm.
so we can easily project onto our children. We can There's a lot. So I just wish that, obviously, the conversation didn't happen there, and then I also wish that little Jamie could have just walked away and was just like, not having this conversation with you here. So we'll talk and we'll talk. I'm gonna go back in and celebrate my brother. And they'd be like, and cut. What happened? I thought he was gonna talk. Listen, no. But go ahead.
So I agree that I don't think that the conversation should have took place at the party. That was just inappropriate. It wasn't the time or the place. I think there's an issue with, so kind of mimicking the Silvers a little bit. There's an issue with independence on
Mm-hmm.
little Jamie's half, and then there's an issue with Jamie Senior of me. What I think anyway is that he likes to put on a facade in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
So he wants everything to be look and be perfect,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just not like that. Like your wife is not a Barbie doll, and your kids aren't perfect. So in the case of Jason, he was trying to push him toward a career that he didn't want to necessarily be in. And now
Mm-hmm.
we have little Jamie who obviously has gotten into some trouble. And I won't say that his dad is embarrassed by that, but it's like now you're trying to push him into obviously it's things that he doesn't want to do. But at the same time, in little Jamie turning down the things that his father is asking him to do, he can't expect, because you're 26. So you can't expect them to basically take care of you. Like you're an adult. So if the job didn't work out with the med-star job that they had, it didn't work out because of your record. Now he's saying, maybe you should try security, or I got a security hookup for you. And he's like, I don't want to do security. And it's like, That's fine. You don't have to do, and that's where Jamie Senior is not saying that's fine. You don't have to do security, but you do need to understand that you need to make a living for yourself, and I won't be your provider. He's not. I think he's trying to say that, but he's not saying it. It's He's frustrated with his son.
Yes. Do you think that the providing, because what did he say? He gives him like
$100 a week.
$150 a week or something like that. Do
Mhm.
you think that the providing for him is out of fear of losing him to the streets because he
Mhm.
did, he was obviously involved in some things. Do you think it's out of fear of losing him, and so he's like, well, because my son don't have a job, I'm going to give him something so he don't feel like he is got to
Mhm.
go out back out there to do XYZ?
Right.
And do you feel like he is that it is a controlling thing as well of I'm I'm going to control this whole situation until I see that he's fit to do XYZ?
It's probably a little bit of both because it definitely can't be 100% that he gives him that little bit to keep him from going in the streets, because there's no way in the world that's enough for
Right.
him to survive. So whether he gives him $100 a week or not, that's definitely not going to keep him away from the streets, because obviously it's not even enough for him to pay a speeding ticket. Because I was thinking to myself, okay, I mean, you get what, 30 days to pay a ticket? So I would just be like, all
Mhm.
right, I'll just wait till my dad give me $100 this week, and then another $100 next week, and then I'll pay the ticket. Like, he gets $100 a week. He has plenty of time to save up and pay for the ticket.
Mhm.
But it's a controlling factor at the same time. And it's a so I can say I did it type thing. Like, what you
Yeah.
mean I don't do nothing for you? I give you $100 a week type of
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah. And this is what I will also say that I think sometimes parents forget. One, boundaries. You have to set boundaries with your children, and you have to set boundaries yourself. And I think that we think, this whole that that whole saying, I brought you in this world, I'll take you out. That's like Jamie's, like, his whole motto. Like, he'd be like, you don't want it, with me, because I get you, up out of here. And the thing is that I think there's a couple of things. Children do not ask to be here. And so when you are a parent, you have to always remind yourself of, this is a decision that I made to have this child, to bring this child forth earthside. And so that's one. Two, you have to create those boundaries. And so I know that, like, one thing that I continuously saw on the internet was that people were just saying a part of this is also you guys's issue, and he admitted to it a little bit too, being like, the 90s babies, we ain't have it because our parents whatever, so we did it to our kids. Now, this is what I'm gonna say. And I wrote this on somebody's page. I said, well, I'm from the same place that they from, and we had programs. I've been working since 14. So therefore, and I said, and especially in the summertime. So the thing is that you as the parent, and especially because you guys had Jace, you guys should have gave him that foundation to say, hey, listen, man, here are programs that you can join, or here you can go get your workers permit so that you're able to work a certain amount of hours. Like, that's your job as a parent. Now, I do know that there are parents that are like, hey, we got it, we don't need you to work. But it's not always about, hey, we got it, we don't need you to work, because then again, that's where that control issue comes in. Because if you're saying, hey, we got it, or we got you, that's going to be the same. That's all they're going to
that's when
hear. That's all they're
and
going
that's
to
what they're going to
know.
expect. Mhm.
Exactly. And that, so at the end of the day, I'm going to look at Jamie and say, the best thing for you to do, Big Jamie, is you're just going to have to let it go. You got to let them go. Like, and I know that that's hard because, again, it goes into that control factor that you have with everybody. and then you, and then you again you have the fear. So you have control and you have fear. Because control, because I want to control the situation. I want it to be the best, and I want it to look this way, and I don't want this to happen, and I don't want to be having court fees and all that. But then again, it's the fear of, oh my gosh, if I don't do something, then how I'm going to know I'm not going to lose my son in these streets? How I know that he ain't going to be whatever, and the next time I ain't going to be able to use my whatever to get him just probation and not jail time.
He did
So,
come out and finally say that he was on the force.
I know. So with that being, well, retired now. So with that being said, it's just like you have to see it for yourself. Of like, I just gotta let this go. Like I have to let my son go. And again, if your son is okay with the girl in which he is with, that is providing for him, and he doesn't feel that you are doing anything or whatever, just accept it, and humble yourself and just simply say, son.
And that's what I was thinking. Don't take it personally. I would be like, oh, okay, good.
Right. I'd be like, just, all right. Well, and I wouldn't even say leave it at, well, we're always here for you if you need it. You just, when it
Not
comes to
until
those
it's time.
boundaries, if he's setting the boundary of, this is me, this is what I'm doing, my girl got me, I'm good, y'all don't do nothing or whatever. And I know that people said that when he said the whole, like, y'all don't do nothing for me, I don't do nothing for you, he's like, no, I didn't take it as financial security or financial support. That's not what I got from when he said that. When he says y'all don't do anything for me, I really think that little Jamie Jr. I'm tired of calling him little, because that's the other thing too. I think that he's a grown man. We calling him little. So I think and that's a part of it. Like, he feels belittled. He doesn't feel that he is 26 years of age. And so I think that both Jamie Sr. and Arena are like so confused, because they're like, oh, we gave him the world and whatnot. But again, the thing that I don't think I have heard them talk about yet is he grew up with a special needs brother. So he only had you guys for what, they're 4 years apart, I think it is.
Mm.
So so he had you guys and then the sister. So there, his world, people have to realize, you have a special needs child. It's not just about the parents' world being rocked. Everybody that's in that household, like, is being rocked. And so when he's like, y'all don't do nothing for me, or you haven't done anything for me, or whatever, it, to me, it just seems a cry out for, like, I don't feel like you've been there emotionally. I don't feel like I was supported mentally. I don't feel like I was supported with you guys spiritually. Y'all threw money around. Y'all got me what I wanted, or you got me this, and the third, but I needed so much more than that. And again, it could have been, especially because they probably saw, like, oh, we have to spend more time and attention with Jace. We gotta take him here. We gotta do this. And so he's just like, and which is then he mentions his Nana. He's like, this is why, I rock with her. She give me and it's like, Nana is giving way more than just money. She gave him some time. And so I think that that's the thing, is that it's not just money with Jamie Jr. It's a lot more there that he is really crying out. But I think that Jamie and Arena are so offended by, what you mean we didn't do, what you mean that they're not, that it's just they're blinded by, like, nah, your son is crying out way more. It's way more than just financial, y'all.
So I can speak to the situation a little bit because I have a family member like that who was, and sidebar, don't forget I'm little Ronnie. I've been
Yeah.
little Ronnie my whole life. And I'm still little Ronnie. And I'm older than little Jamie.
Jamie.
Jamie Jr. But anyway, um, where he was basically coddled his whole life. And then as soon as he hit 21, his mom was like, um, "You ain't got no job, you ain't providing, you ain't helping in this household, then you gotta get out." And
Mm,
it was like, you didn't raise this person to be able to get out. Like,
yeah.
you can't. And I'm not saying that that's specifically in my family member situation, it was a neglect thing from
Mm-hmm.
childhood through teenage years, and then when they became an adult, it was like, okay, be an adult.
Right.
I think in their situation, it was probably because of Jason, the it was a throw money at the situation type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
we always bought you clothes and we always took you on trips type of thing. And
Right.
then when he turned whatever age, it's like, okay, be an adult.
Mm-hmm.
And so they gotta realize that they spoiled them in a
Mm-hmm.
sense. Now, I haven't thought about the fact that they probably weren't emotionally and physically available to him.
Mm-hmm.
And but they are in their minds that they were financially available to him. And so that should be they should no one he shouldn't be able to say you didn't do anything for me. And maybe that's the reason why he's in the hallway crying.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't see that very often, especially not in this area,
Mm-hmm.
where a grown man is just crying about his parent.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's
So
that inner child, man. That's that inner child that's just like, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of being treated this way. And again, Jace even gave us, again, he might be blind, but he ain't. He's
he's
very
definitely not. He probably the smartest one in the house.
so like he's and but again, we also saw when he was having conversations with Arena, and he was saying to Arena, well, you can talk to him because if I talk to him, he just gonna shut me down. And he can, and or he said y'all, and she was like, well, what do you mean y'all? I don't do that. That's only your. And I'm like, Arena, and this like you have to take some accountability too, even though you might not be saying specifically what Jamie is saying. If you're quiet,
And going along with it, yeah.
yes, then you are saying the same thing. If you're not stepping in and saying, well, okay, I hear you, Dad, but on his, thinking about what Jace is wanting or saying or trying to convey to you, I think that we need to hear him because he knows that whatever. If you're not coming in as as you should be to level out that whole like
And I had to learn that too with my children, like
mm,
that to defend them when it came to their situations with their dad, to defend them publicly, like because my tactic was always, let them whatever they have going on with their dad, whether it's a disagreement or whatever, let them talk about it or whatever. And then once me and my husband were by ourselves, and I would be like, well, maybe you should do this, or maybe you should hear
mm-hmm,
them out, like talk to him separately.
right.
And what my children were getting was that I was always on his side.
Mm,
And so I had to like start being more public about my defense of them if I agreed with them. I
right.
had
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
start being more like in their face or in while we're all together, like, no, honey, I think you need to listen, or I think you need to, because your kids, they only see what you put in front of them. So,
Correct. Hmm.
and I had to learn that because I was like, of course they don't see that I'm behind the scenes rooting for them or whatever, or trying to
Right.
negotiate on their behalf. And it wasn't, my daughter, she had to tell me like, Mom, I don't even want to hear your opinion because you're always on Dad's side. And it's like, no, I'm not.
That's funny. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's real. That's definitely real for sure. And guess what? It actually starts like when they're newborn. It doesn't necessarily start when they're even able to talk. Because I mean, even though I have a 2.5-year old, there's I have to always remind my husband that our 2.5-year-old is going through multiple developments and milestones. And so therefore if there's not words there for him to say, hey, listen, I don't like that. This is not what I want in the moment or whatever, when he's tantruming or he's hitting, and it's like, whatever, you be like, going like, I know you ain't just put your hands on me, like, but like, it's like, okay, no, I have to really like go through this. Okay, my child put their hands on me. Why? Okay, they put their hands on me because they don't have the words to say, no, this is not what I want, or hey, I'm going to just be very honest with you, you took something away that I, whatever it is. And so like my husband and I, like, even just like last night, like, so my, like, he's going through like this whole like hitting thing with like Tony, like really, really hard. And I don't know where it's from. I don't know like why he's doing it to him. He had a little bit with me, but I don't know, I might have like kind of scared him a little bit when I where he's like, I already ain't there no more. But he is he's going through this stage of like hitting. And so I told Tony, I said, I want you to remember that every time you get hit, one, don't stay in the situation. Like, don't allow him to make him think
It's
that
okay.
it's okay for him. Because I said, because at the end of the day, I said, what we don't want is for our son to be hitting up on people, and then hitting up on us, and then he gets out in the streets and he think like, well, I'm gonna hit up on this person, and then shot, boom, bam, and they like this, well, they, why you, or what, like, no. So I told him, I said, remove yourself from this, tell him, no, this is not acceptable, remove yourself from the situation, and then I said, then come back, because Tony be obviously like, we be heated, and I was like, then come back, and I was like, have a conversation with him and say, listen, the reason why, I walked away is because you crossed boundaries, you were hitting me, I didn't put my hands on you. Like, we make sure that we're like literally telling, and then like I'll come in too, and because I'll, if I hear or if I see that that's happened, I'm like, gentle hands, you're not using your hands respectfully, you're not using your hands responsibly, you're not, like, so I definitely like interject and come in so he hears these voices consistently of like, this is not right, this is not right, this is not right. And so it's funny because even Tony even told him, he was like, you shouldn't be putting your hands on anybody. And I said, well, I don't agree with that. And I told him, I said, you as far as putting your hands on your mother and your father when they are not harming you in any form, that's not right. But if somebody is in your space and they're harming you, you have the permission to do physical, what you call them with that part, like, because I don't, that's the thing, like, I'm not trying to raise you to think like that physical, um what's like, I guess that any form of physical whatever is not like appropriate. No, there is times if you got somebody up in your face and somebody is doing something to you, like, no, I don't want to just tell you don't hit, don't ever hit, don't. No, we're going to give you the proper tools to say, this is not the appropriate time, this is not appropriate touch, this is wrong. But so
If you gotta get physical, then
yes. So yeah, so anyway,
um,
but yeah, so yeah, I hear you as far as the coming together and being like trying to correct behaviors, or saying like, well, let's think about this, or because Tony also has this thing where he when Miles has something, he like takes it away and he goes, and I told him, I was like, I said, you got to transition him. I was like, you got to learn transition, and he's like, what the heck is transition, pretty much. And I was like, you have to, if you want to take that, because if it's an inappropriate thing that he has, you got to find something that he likes to exchange. And I know people probably like, oh my God, we ain't grow up like that. Look, we was like, give me this, sit your tail down. But I'm sorry. I'm like,
gentle parenting.
yeah, I'm a gentle, conscious. I do the, conscious parenting. So I am breaking generational like curses of like, no, I don't need to get physical with you, I don't need to, raise my voice and smack you around for you to understand certain things. I have to again remember you're a 2.5 year old, and I'm freaking, about to be 40, and yeah, we our brains are not the same. So I'm not going to expect you to be on my level. Anyway, so I digress, but yes. So, but yeah, great conversation. I think that, throughout this season, um,
Yeah.
I'm hoping, I'm hoping that there is some resolve, that there is some counseling, because they definitely need it. And again, this goes back to even like the Samuels. I personally don't think that Jamie and little Jamie need to be on TV with their issues, personally.
Mhm.
But I know that that's probably something that Carlos is like, oh, I think that would be great for two Black men to kind of go through this journey of whatever and to see it. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, so that's that. But yeah, let's wrap.
So
Oh, go ahead.
yes, no, I was gonna say, so we're at
Ashley and Joy.
Jason's party, yeah.
Still at
And so
Jason's. A lot has gone on at
Jason's
Jason's
party is the
party.
spot.
Yes, child.
So Joy mentioned that on behalf of the Stephen Marjorie Foundation, I
The
believe,
foundation.
in conjunction with Ready to Love, she would be speaking at an event for single moms who are ready to love again, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Ashley makes the comment of, but you're not a mom.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can run down my opinion on that, or
Mm-hmm.
you want to go first?
Go ahead.
I will say that, and I know you think I just love Ashley. I don't just love Ashley. I like Ashley. I do think she's a little abrasive sometimes, but it's a line with Ashley's, because while I think the question is there in the back of most people's mind, maybe like,
Mm-hmm.
you're not a mom, so how do you plan? I think it was a way that Ashley could finesse the question a little better. She could have presented it a little better, but because Ashley has that bully persona,
Mm-hmm.
it just came out like, girl, but you're not a mom, so why did they ask you, type of thing. Like, it came off shady and haterish. I think somebody said
Yes.
that,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think that's where she was with it. I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt. I think, like I said, it's a real question that probably a lot of people might have had the same question, and it was a better way to finesse the question.
Yeah.
That was my opinion. I
Yeah.
think she
No,
could have said, where what are you going to pull from, being as though you're not a mom? It was a better
mm-hmm.
way to ask it.
Absolutely. Yes. So one thing that when I used to be in the classroom, one of the things that I always told my students on how you communicate constructive criticism to someone is you give them a positive, and then you come with the constructive criticism of what they can do better. And
Mm.
so I just feel like she could have first said, well, wow, Steve Harvey, Marjorie Foundation, the fact that you were asked, let's just celebrate that. Like, that's congratulations, to that. I do have a question, do you feel right, or is there a certain way that you feel being a woman that is not necessarily a mother? And she could have even said, like, do you have any experience, like, because the thing is that even though we have to also remember too is that just because somebody is not necessarily, like, for me, like, I wasn't a mom for many years, but I was a teacher, and let me tell you, okay, like, teachers are not just teachers, okay? We the only thing we really don't do is we don't take them kids home, but a lot of times, like, I mean, I had multiple students calling me mom. So I think that we have to be very careful when we project onto people what does motherhood really look like, because motherhood um doesn't might not necessarily, like, it's just not the same for everybody. And
True.
so
No,
yeah,
I
so
was
I
going to say
think
true, because just to slide in really quickly,
mhm,
because even me, although I became a mom really young, even before actually giving birth, I felt like a mother figure to I have a younger brother, as you know. I felt like a mother figure to him, and so, that role comes in all different forms. So, yeah,
Right.
it could have been she could
Yeah.
have said, "Well, are you speaking?" She could be that could have been Joy's answer. She doesn't know. But Joy immediately got defensive because of how Ashley came off. So, for all we know, Joy raised her brothers and sisters or
Right.
is
Or
a
as a
auntie.
godparent that took over.
Right. But
Absolutely.
go ahead with what you were saying.
Yeah, so no, that's what pretty much kind of piggybacking off of you just saying that delivery is everything. And I think that that is something that Ashley does have to work on, especially because she's got this whole thing of like, she's doing her book tour or whatever. It's like you just have to you've got to work on your communication as a whole. And we've got to leave, I'm not saying, leave all the Baltimore out of you, but you gotta leave a little bit. You can have your little Baltimore thing, but then you have to at the end of the day be able to have an intellectual conversation, being able to have an intellectual conversation with everybody in the room. And even though that might be your home girl and you felt maybe comfortable saying that, I just there's just a way to do it without having to offend. And obviously Joy was definitely offended, and I just was like, because I was like, yeah, actually we could have asked that question
Yeah.
so much better, like.
And I think Ashley definitely is a take care or leaver type of personality.
Mm,
And so, and I think what it is with her is that she's blunt and a straight shooter kinda, and she stands in that instead of
mm-hmm.
trying to find other ways to communicate. And instead of doing that, she's just like, "No, I'm just blunt and I'm a straight shooter, and that's just me, and you just gotta take it." And it's not. And Ashley, if you wanna be successful, I mean, like you mentioned, she's doing these book tours, and you're gonna be meeting different people. You're gonna have to find another way because it's definitely not gonna work in every
Right.
situation.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Like, again, I'm not saying lose yourself, but it's just not gonna work for everybody. Like there will be people that will definitely be like, I'm good. Like I'm good. No, I don't wanna. Nope. Because I mean I've experienced people like an Ashley, and I just be like this, oh yeah, no, like I'm gonna go ahead and just go the other way. Cause see, the thing is like with me, like it just a switch will happen, and then we just will be on the
Yeah,
floor.
and like I say, I personally like her, but I mean, I understand that she could use some finesse.
Yeah, for sure. So, but yeah, so I'm in hopes that, and I don't know if this going to be obvious on TV, but I think I think that Joy would do fine, because the thing is too is that there's still I she could still speak from an authentic space of saying like, I may not be a mother, but at the end of the day, as someone who has a fiance that does
As
have
children.
children,
Mhm.
these are the things that we implemented to protect his kids, to do XY. So it's like, again, you didn't even look even at her current situation, where
And that's
she.
you
Mhm.
can tell she was caught off guard by what Ashley said because she didn't even give a thorough answer, or she just was like, "Well, they
Yes.
asked me, so
Right.
I'm gonna do it." They asked me. It was just kind of like, "Okay, honey, but now what are you going to talk about?"
Right.
And that's what Ashley was giving. So like, what are you going to talk about instead of like, okay, well, even as a friend, she could have said, okay, well, maybe we should explore that a little bit. How about, we can talk to, Arena about how she had Brittany
Mhm.
and how she jumped back into the dating pool. We have friends who had a child and then jump back, were single moms and jump back into the dating life. Or have you talked to any of your family members? Or, she could have,
Yeah.
it's just, the conversation just could have went way differently.
Yeah.
But Joy was blinded by Ashley's delivery, and Ashley, we
With her
can pray for
sidekick
Ashley.
in the back, who was like, well, it's funny because when they showed
She looks familiar.
her friend's face when she said it, she was like,
She looked like she was irritated, but she agreed with Ashley, though.
yeah. So it looked like she was like, now, friend, why would you say that like that? But then
Right.
she agreed, which is valid. I mean, be like, girl, oh Lord, here we go. You
She
ain't had
looks
to.
familiar. Did we see her last season? Is
I
that
don't
why she
know who
looks
that lady
familiar?
is.
She looks
Mm-hmm.
familiar.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to
You might
figure
know
her
her
out.
from somewhere.
Yeah, I have to
No,
figure that
I
out.
don't know who she is. But yeah. Anywho, so y'all, yes, this was a extended conversation um on this first episode, but obviously we've got a whirlwind. Silver was actually on the radio today, and so he was talking to Vic. And she was like, so what can we expect from this season? And he was like, a lot. Like, he was like, way more than like y'all even thinking. And apparently, so they, last season they had only 10 episodes. There's going to be 20. He said today that he was actually filming. So they're going to have a mid-season break. So they're going to do 10 weeks of the show, to take a break, and then come back for the rest of the season. But they are currently actually filming now the second half of the season. So yeah, but and then Vic actually asked him. She was like, quick, I've never seen you yell, you didn't cuss. She was like, I don't know. She was like we never had that type of Quicksilver. And she was like, are you like doing more of that this season? And he said, I am not selling my soul for reality TV. And she said, ooh, selling your soul? Well, who is? And he was like, and we're ending this conversation. I said, oh, Lord. So yeah. So obviously we're going to be in a whirlwind of
I saw some fights.
I don't know. So
it looked like Ashley might be at the center of all of them.
well,
Ashley and Joy, Ashley and Arena, Ashley and Winter, Ashley and what's the other one who's coming?
Sherelle.
Mm-hmm.
Chad, I almost didn't recognize Sherelle. But yeah, so we'll see.
It was Ashley and Sherelle, right? It was Ashley who told Sherelle she didn't like her husband, or was that Joy?
That was Ashley and Joy.
Joy.
I don't like your husband. She said, okay.
Right. I like him, so that's all that matters, honey.
Yeah.
But okay.
But anyway, y'all. So y'all let us know in the comment section, what are your expectations for this next episode and the season beyond? And what was something that stood out to you? And how do y'all feel about, just the first episode? Like, it was a lot. It was actually a lot that happened. It happened quick and fast, but it
happened all at Jason's party.
Oh,
it was a lot.
Right, exactly. That was the thing that stood out the most. So y'all let us know in the comment section, and always do not forget to share, love up on that like button, subscribe, and we will see you guys next week. Peace.